Hey, Ajay. So I'm going to do some more problems for you. I'm not sure how much time you'll have to work on them before we get together tomorrow at around 12. This one says a dorm room has a perimeter of 34 feet. Its area is 60 feet. What are its dimensions? When it says dimensions, what it's really saying is what are its length and width. So let's write down what we know. We got a, rectangular, maybe it's square, we don't know, dorm room, and its perimeter, which is 2L plus 2W, is 34. So let's put 34 for P. So we know that. What else do we know? We know that length times width, which is area, equals 60. Now we have a bit of a problem. We have two equations. We have two unknowns, which are L and W, and we have to put those equations together so that we get one equation with one unknown. And your class, as it often does, is hard fast on this type of thing. We can go ahead and say, because what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to we're going to want to put these two equations together, get rid of a variable. And we're going to do this by substitution. We can do that, for example, by saying from the second equation, L equals 60 divided by W. What did I do there? I divided both sides by W. I got L by itself, and now every time I see L up here, I can call it 60 divided by W. I'm not happy about that, but it's a way to get one equation, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this with 60 divided by W, and then I'll have one equation that only has W in it. So I'm going to do that. By the way, Ajay, this is not the only way to solve this. But it's the way I'm choosing to solve it right now. There's an infinite number of ways you could solve this problem. But none of them are any better than the way I'm doing it, and some would probably be worse. All right, let's go ahead and we'll distribute this. By the way, this is a section on quadratics, so I'm not that surprised. I made a little mistake here. That should be a plus. I'm not that surprised here that we have, we're going to end up with a quadratic equation because we're dealing with quadratics here. So now I've got W on the bottom here, and I'm not happy about that. But I can multiply everything by W. And I can get rid of that W on the bottom in the denominator there. And then I'm going to have 34W equals 120. These W's canceled. Plus 2W squared. and I'm going to keep writing, and then I'm going to move over to some other place. I'm going to simplify that. Well, I don't really need to. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to say I'm going to move stuff around, and you'll be able to follow this. 2w squared. I'm putting my w squared first. I'm going to subtract 34w from both sides. So I get minus 34w plus 120 equals 0. Running out of room. And I noticed barely that there's a 2 in all that junk. So I'm going to say w squared minus 17w. I'm dividing 2 from everything. Plus 60 equals 0. I certainly hope I didn't make any mistakes in here, Jay. Well, that's one mistake. Now I'm looking for two numbers that when I multiply them together, get me 60, and when I add them together, get me negative 17. And I'm thinking of things. I'm thinking of 10 and 6, 12 and 5. Well, 12 and 5 looks good. 12 and 5 can multiply to 60. And if they're both negative, they can add to 17. So that tells me I could rewrite this, factoring it. Well, by the way, Jay, you could solve this by completing the square. You could solve it by the quadratic equation. But it's nice if you can factor stuff because it doesn't get so ugly. So negative 12 and negative 5 multiply to be 60, and negative 12 and negative 5 add, those two guys, negative 12 and negative 5 add to be negative 17. That should not be there, that little dot. Oops. So my answers are going to be w equals 12 or w equals 5. And let's see if there's a preferred answer in there. Well, they must have given us other information. Well, yeah, in the drawing that they gave us, they made it look like the length was bigger than the height. Yeah. So, in fact, W is going to equal, because the length is bigger than the height in the drawing that they gave us. Well, no, the width is greater, so W is going to equal 12, and length is going to equal 5. I'll send you some more stuff in a bit, Ajay. Okay, bye.